2026 is here, and British bread is about to go through a major change. The world of bread will be shaken to its core, because British baking is facing one of its biggest changes since the dawn of the bakery: mandatory folic acid fortification in some of the most popular breads sold all across the country. A new law they claim to help us prevent birth defects. We urge and invite you all to share your thoughts about this in the comments below, because we believe that's exactly how the truth can really shine. And while you're there, hit the hype button under this video to spread the word, and maybe together we can make a bigger change further down the line, even if it is only in time for the next generation. I've been spending the last few weeks deep diving into the world of bread in the UK, digging through every source I could find because honestly, the information is all over the place, specifically looking at folic acid content. But what I discovered is honestly quite shocking. We're talking about one of the most consumed foods in this country, something that's in nearly every household, and most people still have absolutely no idea what they'll be consuming in 2026. Now, we all know that making bread at home is the absolute best option. Nothing is going to beat that simple 4-ingredient, freshly baked sourdough you make yourself at home. But here's the reality. If you're buying bread, like most of us still are, or even if you're making bread at home but still buying it here and there for convenience, you need to know what you're actually getting. So we present to you the complete list of breads you really want to stay clear from, and then the 8 that are actually still really good. Number 1. Kingsmill Tasty Wholemeal. This one really annoys us because it's marketed as wholemeal, which people assume means healthy. Let me read you the flour ingredients: wholemeal wheat flour, soya flour, fortified wheat flour, fermented wheat flour, and barley flour. Despite the wholemeal label, it contains 4 different types of flour, includes soya flour. Why is there soya in bread? Contains fortified wheat flour, that's white flour with nutrients added back in, has fermented wheat flour, sounds healthy but it's just a processing aid, multiple emulsifiers and additives. This isn't 100% wholemeal bread despite what the packaging suggests. When you buy wholemeal bread, you expect wholemeal flour, water, salt and yeast, or sourdough starter. That's it, not a cocktail of different flours and additives. Number 2. Hovis Soft White Medium. Hovis is another one of the big 3 ultra-processed bread manufacturers in the UK, alongside Warburton's and Kingsmill. The name itself is telling: soft, white. Real bread isn't meant to stay soft for a week, it's meant to be eaten fresh or within a couple of days. Contains preservatives to extend shelf life, multiple emulsifiers for that artificial softness, made with refined white flour which has the lowest natural folate content, part of the industrial bread system that prioritizes shelf life and profit over nutrition. This bread will contain synthetic folic acid from 2026. The texture is what really gives it away. Pick up a slice and squeeze it. It compresses down to almost nothing and bounces back. That's not how proper bread behaves. Number 3. Warburton's White Toasty. Warburton's is one of the biggest bread manufacturers in the UK, and their White Toasty is a perfect example of what's wrong with mainstream commercial bread. It contains calcium propionate, that's E282, a preservative that's been linked to behavioral issues in some children. Multiple emulsifiers, including E471 and E472E. These are added to make the bread softer and extend shelf life, but they're completely unnecessary. Made with refined white flour that's stripped of natural nutrients, will contain synthetic folic acid from 2026. Long ingredient list, when bread should really only need 4 ingredients. The texture is unnaturally soft because of all those emulsifiers. Real bread doesn't stay that soft for days and days. That's not normal. If you leave this bread out on the counter for a week, it doesn't go moldy like real bread would. It just slowly dries out while maintaining that weird spongy texture. Number 4. Allinson's Classic Wholemeal. Another wholemeal bread that isn't what it claims to be. Allinson's has been around for ages and has this reputation as a wholesome brand. But let's look at what's actually in it. Contains 4 different types of flour, despite being labelled wholemeal. includes soya flour and fermented wheat flour, multiple additives and processing aids, not 100% wholemeal as the name suggests. The complexity of ingredients shows this is highly processed. Again, wholemeal bread should be simple. The fact that they need 4 different flours and multiple additives tells you everything you need to know about the quality. They're trying to replicate the texture and shelf life of white bread while slapping a wholemeal label on it for health-conscious consumers. Number 5. Kingsmill White Sliced. This is your classic ultra-processed white sliced bread that's been in UK households for decades. It's cheap, it's convenient, but it's absolute rubbish nutritionally. Contains calcium propionate preservative, multiple emulsifiers, made with refined white flour with the lowest natural folate content at 25 micrograms per 100 grams. Will contain synthetic folic acid from 2026. Ultra-processed with no real nutritional value. Extremely high glycemic index spikes your blood sugar rapidly. This is the bread that gives bread a bad name. It's basically edible packaging material at this point. 2 slices of this will spike your blood sugar faster than eating straight sugar because the flour is so refined and processed that your body converts it to glucose almost instantly. Number 6. Tesco Everyday Value White. The budget option, and you absolutely get what you pay for with this one. When supermarkets race to the bottom on price, quality is the first thing to suffer. Longest ingredient list of all the bad breads. Contains preservatives and emulsifiers, made with the cheapest refined white flour. Lowest nutritional value. Will contain synthetic folic acid from 2026. The definition of ultra-processed food. If you're trying to eat well on a budget, this isn't the way to do it. You're better off making your own bread or choosing one of the good options I'm about to show you, even if it costs a bit more. The price difference between this and a decent loaf works out to maybe 50 pence, but the nutritional difference is massive. All of these breads share some key characteristics. Calcium propionate preservative, emulsifiers like E471 and E472E, refined flours with minimal natural nutrients, will contain synthetic folic acid from 2026, ultra-processed with long ingredient lists, unnaturally soft and long shelf life, blood sugar spikes due to high glycemic index. These are the hallmarks of industrial bread production. Now, for the good news. There are good bread options available in UK supermarkets. These breads have better folic acid and folate content, they're minimally processed, and they're made with real ingredients. Number 1. Waitrose No. 1 Wholemeal Sourdough. This is one of the best breads you can buy in a UK supermarket. It's made with a 10-year-old levain starter, which means it's real sourdough using traditional fermentation methods. Made with wholemeal flour, that's 40 micrograms of natural folate per 100 grams. Real sourdough fermentation increases folate bioavailability by 2 to 3 times. Minimal ingredients, basically flour, water, salt, and starter. No preservatives or emulsifiers. Lower glycemic index due to the fermentation process. Better for gut health due to the beneficial bacteria. The wholemeal flour combined with sourdough fermentation means you're getting maximum natural folate that your body can actually absorb and use. You can taste the difference immediately. It has that slight tang from the fermentation, the crust has actual texture and crunch, and the crumb is open and irregular. That's what real bread looks like. Number 2. Biona Organic Rye Bread. Rye bread is naturally high in folate and nutrients. Biona makes an excellent organic version that's authentically made. Whole grain rye is naturally high in folate. Organic ingredients. Authentic sourdough fermentation. No wheat, so it's exempt from the fortification regulations. Minimal ingredients, just rye flour, water, salt, and sourdough culture. Dense and filling. Rye bread is traditional in Northern and Eastern Europe, and there's a reason those cultures have eaten it for centuries. It's nutrient-dense, filling, and genuinely good for you. 1 slice of this rye bread will keep you full longer than 3 slices of white bread, because of the fiber content and the way your body processes whole rye. Number 3. Jason's Sourdough Wholemeal Ciabatta. Jason's makes a rare wholemeal sourdough ciabatta that's widely available in UK supermarkets. This is a great option if you want something a bit different from standard loaves. Real sourdough using slow fermentation, made with wholemeal flour, naturally higher folate. Minimal additives. The ciabatta style gives you that nice crust and open crumb. Widely available. Tesco, Waitrose, Morrison's, Sainsbury's all stock it. Great for sandwiches or alongside meals. The fact that they've made a wholemeal ciabatta with sourdough is impressive. Most ciabatta breads are made with white flour and commercial yeast. The texture is perfect for dipping in olive oil or making paninis. Number 4. Bertinet Bakery Seeded Sourdough. Richard Bertinet is a respected baker, and his bakery produces some excellent sourdough loaves. The seeded version adds extra nutritional benefits. Authentic sourdough with slow fermentation. Seeds add extra B vitamins, minerals, and healthy fats. No preservatives, made using traditional methods. The seeds add flavor and nutrition. Seeds like sunflower, pumpkin, and sesame are all good sources of additional B vitamins, which complement the folate in the bread. You're getting a complete nutritional package here. The seeds also add a satisfying crunch and nutty flavor that makes this bread delicious on its own or toasted with butter. Number 5. Schneiderbrot Whole Grain Rye. This is a German-style rye bread that you can find in several UK supermarkets. German bread culture is fantastic, and this is a great example. Authentic whole grain rye, naturally high in folate, simple ingredients, rye flour, water, salt, sourdough culture, and seeds. No additives or preservatives. Available at Waitrose, Asda, and Tesco. Very dense and filling. One slice goes a long way. Traditional German baking methods. German rye bread is properly fermented and uses quality whole grains. It's what bread should be. The density might throw you off at first if you're used to fluffy white bread, but once you adjust, you'll realize how satisfying proper bread can be. Number 6. Waitrose No. 1 Spelt Sourdough. Spelt is an ancient grain that's actually been cultivated for thousands of years. It's different from modern wheat and retains more nutrients. Ancient grain with higher nutrient retention than modern wheat. Real sourdough. Minimal ingredients. Naturally occurring folate. Some people who have issues with modern wheat find spelt easier to digest. Spelt has a slightly nutty flavor and is nutritionally superior to modern wheat varieties. The gluten structure in spelt is different from modern wheat, which is why some people with wheat sensitivities can tolerate spelt better. It's not suitable for celiacs, but for people with minor wheat issues, it can be a revelation. Number 7. Marks & Spencer's Sourdough from the Bakery Counter. If you have an M&S near you, their bakery counter sourdough is excellent quality. Premium real sourdough, minimal ingredients, proper fermentation, made fresh in store daily. No preservatives, this bread is meant to be eaten within a day or two. Various options available. The bakery counter breads are generally much better than packaged breads because they're designed to be eaten fresh, not to sit on a shelf for a week. You can actually watch them baking it in some stores. That's transparency you don't get with factory-produced bread. The smell alone when you walk past the bakery counter tells you this is proper bread. Number 8. Celtic Bakers Organic Wholemeal. Celtic Bakers is a smaller brand that produces quality organic bread. Their wholemeal is properly made with minimal ingredients. 100% organic wholemeal flour, naturally higher folate. Minimal ingredients, no additives or preservatives. Made by a company that prioritizes quality over shelf life. Finding this might require checking health food stores or independent shops, but it's worth seeking out. Small bakeries like Celtic Bakers are keeping traditional bread making alive in the UK. They're not trying to compete with the big manufacturers on shelf life or price. They're competing on quality and nutrition, and that's exactly what we need more of.
All of these good options share these characteristics: wholemeal or whole grain flours with naturally higher folate, real sourdough fermentation where applicable, which increases folate bioavailability, Minimal ingredients, usually just flour, water, salt and starter. No preservatives like calcium propionate. No unnecessary emulsifiers. Made using traditional methods. Designed to be eaten fresh, not stored for weeks. This is how bread has been made for thousands of years, and there's a reason those methods have stood the test of time. Homemade is always best. If you can make your own sourdough at home with just flour, water, salt and thyme, that's the gold standard. Nothing beats it. Wholemeal beats white. Wholemeal flour has 40 micrograms of natural folate per 100 grams versus white flour's 25 micrograms. Plus, wholemeal is exempt from synthetic folic acid fortification. Real sourdough is superior. Proper sourdough fermentation increases folate bioavailability by 2 to 3 times, making the nutrients more accessible to your body. Natural folate beats synthetic folic acid. Natural folate from whole grain sources is better metabolized by the body and doesn't carry the same concerns as synthetic folic acid. Watch out for wholemeal deception. Many branded wholemeal breads contain multiple flour types and aren't 100% wholemeal. Read the ingredients. Avoid ultra-processed markers. If you see calcium propionate, multiple emulsifiers like E471 and E472E, long ingredient lists or multiple flour types, put it back. The fortification is coming. From December 2026, non-wholemeal flour will have synthetic folic acid added. Choose wholemeal or whole grain options to avoid this. If you're currently buying the bad breads, I get it. They're convenient, they're cheap, they're everywhere. But your health is worth investing in. Even if you can't make bread at home, choosing one of these good options is going to make a real difference to your nutrition and health. Start with 1 or 2 of the good breads I've mentioned. Try them, see which ones you like, and gradually make the switch. Your body will thank you for it. And remember, bread shouldn't last a week in your kitchen. Real bread goes stale in a couple of days, and that's completely normal. If your bread is still soft and fresh after a week, that's not a feature, that's a warning sign. Staleness is natural. It's what happens when you make bread from actual ingredients without preservatives. You can always toast stale bread or turn it into bread crumbs. That's what people did for centuries before chemical preservatives existed. If you found this helpful, make sure to hit that hype button below the video to spread the word. Let's make better choices together. Drop a comment below and let me know what bread you currently buy and whether you're planning to make the switch. Thanks for listening, and remember, stay aware, stay sharp, and protect your plate.